No team has won in Pittsburgh twice in one season in the 75-year history of the Steelers. That's exactly what the Jaguars are trying to accomplish this coming Saturday night. Go into Pittsburgh and do what they did on December 16th, and that's beat Pittsburgh at home. 29-22 was the final in that game. Huge rushing day for Fred Taylor and Maurice Jones-Drew. They'll try and accomplish that again against the Steelers. Hey, how are you, folks? Jason Horowitz and NFL.com's Pat Kirwan. Glad to be with you as we break down the playoffs here, presented by Comcast. And Pat, you look at this game. Jacksonville's got all the momentum going in the world. They have played well offensively. They've held teams the last 4 games to less than 150 yards passing. The other side, Pittsburgh, an awful month of December. We know that they didn't play that well, and they also lost Willie Parker. You've got one team going in with a lot of swagger and one team limping in.
Well, you got one team limping in, that being Pittsburgh, and you referenced the loss of Willie Parker. The last time they met, Willie Parker had 109 yards of offense. He's not going to be there. But more importantly, he takes the big threat play out of the game for Pittsburgh. On the other side of the ball, they've lost Aaron Smith. And if you didn't know who Aaron Smith was, check out what's happened to that defense. He was the mainstay. If you talk to Bill Cowher, which I do, about how important that guy was to their front, how he set up their blitz schemes, and when you look at their pressures and their pass rush pressures, they had in the 4 games before this final game when no one played, they had 2 sacks. Now they have 3 sacks in their last 4 games. It's not a good sign because Dick LeBeau's fire zone blitz scheme is about getting to the quarterback. They're not doing it, and that exposes a secondary that, quite frankly, is average.
And we were talking earlier in the year about how Pittsburgh, Pat, would get sacks from all kinds of different players. Now they're not getting sacks from anybody, and they're not getting takeaways either, which means Jacksonville will be able to score, at least on paper. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think, first of all, the Jacksonville offense last time defied logic. The Pittsburgh Steelers, #1 defense in the NFL, #3 against the run. They give up 89 yards a game. They meet Jacksonville in their home field, and Freddie Taylor and Maurice Jones-Drew combined for 35 carries and 216 yards. That does not happen to the Pittsburgh Steelers. It did happen. I don't know that they'll generate the same number, Jason. I think it'll be less than that, but they'll still be able to run the football against this football team. And if in an ironic way, if you slow that running game down, you're going to have to be confronted by David Garrard, whose receiving targets down the field are starting to come to light.
And on top of that, David Garrard was 9-3 as a starter this year. We know he doesn't turn the football over. One of the highest rating passing quarterbacks, highest rated quarterbacks in the NFL this season. But he is making his first start in a playoffs. Does that mean anything to you?
No, it can, but it shouldn't, and I don't think it will. And just getting to know David Garrard a little bit, guy's cool, calm under pressure. I think the biggest thing he did was he really paid his dues to get this job. And by the time he got it, I know 2 staffs had been through there on the offensive side of the ball saying to Jack, the kid Garrard's better than Leftwich. We need to be doing that. They didn't do it. The guy I think is going to be fine because he's got Reggie Williams starting to play better downfield. He's got life coming in Matt Jones' hands. And so he always has the running game behind him. He always is going to get a safety dropped in the box. And he's got 2 tall kids that are starting to catch the football. And he doesn't make mistakes. And if he's under pressure, what I love most about him, he's already showed me he can beat you with his feet. Over 4 yards a carry. So if he has to take off to move the chains, he will do that. And I guarantee Pittsburgh does not want to see him run with the football because he's capable of a big play.
And he's got Dennis Northcutt, who's also had a good season as well.
And a very good influence on the young receivers.
Yeah, he has, because he's actually caught the ball where they dropped it throughout. Yeah, they're learning how to catch the ball. On the other side, you talked about Willie Parker. The loss of him, obviously the big play is gone. Najee Davenport is in the back. But it's going to have to be Ben Roethlisberger. He's going to have to beat this Jags.
At the end of the day, and this is the scary part for the Steelers fans, at the end of the day, I think you're going to have to throw the ball over 30 times. Now, Ben's already being sacked once every 10 pass attempts. That's a very bad number. He was sacked 5 times by Jacksonville last time, and he's going to be in a situation where he's going to have to throw 30, 35 times. I'm looking for 3, 4, or 5 sacks against him this time. And they ran a nice twist stunt. They ran it a couple times. They got Ben to step on the pocket, and they nailed him with the ends coming underneath the tackles. So they've got a scheme that can get to him. And here's what Najee Davenport can do. He is not going to embarrass the Steelers or the Steeler fan base. He'll run the ball off tackle, but he's not going to give you the big play. He'll be a pretty good receiver in the flat. You'll drop the ball off to him. But can the Steelers stay patient with a much slower attacking offense? And keep this in mind. Heinz Ward, their best receiver, his longest reception of the year is 25 yards. Where's the big play? Santonio Holmes, they'll take care of him with their good
Rasheed Mathis. Yeah, and he's healthy as well, and it's not expected to be a sloppy field in Pittsburgh. Forecast is not calling for snow.
No.
It's not calling for rain, maybe even in the 40s. Let's throw all of the numbers into the computer and get the AccuScore prediction for this game. Both teams coming off a loss where neither one really played their starters at all for the most part. Let's see what the computer has to say about this game. They say that the Jaguars go on the road and beat the Steelers and become the first team in history to beat Pittsburgh twice in the same season in Pittsburgh. Do you agree?
Well, I do agree, but it is hard to comprehend. It's every time I get done thinking about this game, I take all the objective stuff out and think of it emotionally. Pittsburgh Steelers, yellow towels, screaming. The Pittsburgh Steelers tradition. Might still go back to Jacksonville.
I agree. I like Jacksonville too. They're just more physical. Whatever it is, it'll be a physical football game. I like Jacksonville to come out of it as well. Folks, for more on this game or any other here in Wild Card Weekend, be sure to stay with CBSSports.com and watch everything else on the CBS Audience Network. For NFL.com's Pat Kirwan, I'm Jason Horowitz. Take care.